Hey everyone, it's Rihanna and welcome back to another film review. Today I am so excited to be reviewing and talking about Mockingjay Part 2. I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. I love the books, I love all of the movies, and I was so excited for this film. It was one of my most anticipated of 2015.
Turn your weapons to snow.
So this review will be spoiler free for Mockingjay Part 2, however there will contain spoilers for Mockingjay Part 1, so if you haven't watched Mockingjay Part 1, I suggest you mute or go watch that and then come back. So the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 starts where Mockingjay Part 1 left off. It works really well as two parts of a movie, but as a whole movie. It really could have been condensed down more as to be one movie, but I think they work just as well as two movies. Part 2 really succeeds Part 1, and Part 1 was a lot of build up, whereas this one is more about the war. It follows Katniss Everdeen as they have rescued the tributes, Peter Millark and Joanna Mason, and all the other tributes from the capital and from President Snow, and follows Katniss Everdeen and her struggles as being the leader of the rebellion for the war against the capital. While Katniss Everdeen is trying to lead this revolution against President Snow, the ones closest to her are in the most danger they have ever been in. So let's talk about Katniss Everdeen as a character in this film. In Part 1, everyone moaned that she cried a lot, that she had a lot of PTSD, but I think if you had two fights to the death that you survived, you would be crying and have PTSD too. But I've always loved Katniss Everdeen as a character. I think she's strong, I think she has her morals right, and she's a very unpredictable character in this film as well. She knows what's right in this film. And as always, Jennifer Lawrence does a fantastic job as portraying Katniss Everdeen, as she does every single film in the franchise. She just is this character, and I think she is a great role model for girls, and I just love Katniss Everdeen and Jennifer Lawrence playing Katniss Everdeen. She brings the emotion, and she brings the rebellion and the fire. And Peter Millark, played by Josh Hutcherson from Part 1, has been hijacked to think that Katniss Everdeen is the enemy, and I think they did a really cool thing with his character. As he was this love and kind character in the previous films, he is just very brutal and honest towards his feelings to Katniss. Even though they aren't his own thoughts, I thought Josh Hutcherson did a great job turning Peter's character around and making him more dimensional. Although I loved what they did with Peter's character in this film, and I love how Josh Hutcherson played that out, I think that Peter Millark's character was severely underused in this film. I really could have used more Peter and Katniss chemistry, because I think it was disrupted by the overuse of Gale, played by Liam Hemsworth. I'm not the personal biggest fan of Gale Hawthorne in the books or in the films. Some people like him, I'm just really not a big fan, and I think the whole love triangle between Peter, Katniss and Gale was way too overplayed in this film. I was thinking, finally, they're going to have more connection between Peter and Katniss as they have to rekindle their relationship in Part 2, but it had my eyes rolling a lot of the time with the love triangle stuff. It was way too overplayed and overused, and I just didn't like it. The ensemble cast for the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is massive. We have returning characters including Joanna Mason and Finnick Odair, who were some of my favourite characters in the books, but I think they were severely underused in the film, as I think they really had more potential as characters. But the thing is, they bring more characters in, and although it was a really good adaptation to the book and they brought characters from the book into the film, it just felt like you didn't know who was who, and no one had really enough depth for you to actually latch on to a character. So it was like, oh, that character just died. I don't actually remember what their character's name was. Even though it is a huge cast, everyone plays their parts so well. We have Woody Harrelson playing Haymitch again, and Effie Trinket played by Elizabeth Banks. All of the reoccurring characters do a flawless job doing their characters again. They just do them so much justice to the book characters. And even though there is a ton of characters to follow in this film, Jennifer Lawrence makes sure that Katniss Everdeen is the star of the show. Not to go too much into how it adapts from the book, but as always, this is a great adaptation from the source material written by Suzanne Collins. I'm a massive fan, and fans of the books will be incredibly pleased to see direct lines from the book in this film. But there's some really cool new additions that I absolutely love seeing in this film. They talk a lot about the first Hunger Games and why they're fighting for it, and what the actual purpose of them fighting against President Snow is. With the very slow pacing of the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, I was expecting Mockingjay Part 2 just to be a little bit more hard-hitting and fast-paced. And it was a lot more fast-paced than Part 1, but that still doesn't mean it wasn't stop-start and slow at points. It was very inconsistent with its pacing, which was really a disappointment, because the action that is in this film is done so well. The special effects, the CGI is so good. It's hard-hitting, the tension builds up, up so well, and some of the action set pieces are so good and so well choreographed in this film. They were badass. But then I was disappointed because there wasn't as much action as I wanted there to be, and it wasn't as fast paced as I wanted it to be, just because they are going places and then they're stopping to rest and they'll have conversations and then they'll go another place, and it just becomes very repetitive, and I just wanted it to be bam 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 throughout the whole of this film. I swear every single trailer and every single poster I've seen for this movie says the epic conclusion of the Hunger Games franchise, and while some of the action in this film and some of the tension is super epic, I was expecting a little bit more from this film. Being the conclusion to the Hunger Games franchise, it's still a strong film and holds its own. It has some great action pieces, it has some major pacing issues, but keeps very consistent with the books and the characters and the acting in the film. Everyone does a fantastic job. Jennifer Lawrence is a great Katniss. It's a real war movie and kind of a twist on the war movie as well. I just think the pacing issues, the kind of playing up to the romance in this film, let me down a lot. The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 is a great conclusion to the Hunger Games franchise. It just isn't as epic as the trailers and the posters make it out to be. Rating this film as a die-hard Hunger Games fan, I would give it an epic win. It's a great adaptation, it's got great action, and really stays faithful to the book, and it's a great conclusion to the story. As a film reviewer, I'm just gonna have to give Mockingjay Part 2 a win. I was expecting the pacing to be a lot faster, and if it would have been, I would have given this epic win all the way. It isn't one of my favourite movies of the year, but I am very sad to see this franchise go. It's a great movie. Go check it out if you like the other movies. Catching Fire is still my favourite Hunger Games, but Part 2 comes close. So if you guys have seen Mockingjay Part 2, let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments, and I will be doing a spoiler-filled talk for you guys very soon. If you like this review, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be bringing you lots more TV reviews and movie reviews for you guys very soon. As always, all my social media links, including my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd, are down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you today. Bye!